If I had known that love could cost me my womb, I would have listened. I would have listened when my mother warned me. I would have listened when my father sat in silence and pain. I would have listened when that little voice inside me said, "This doesn't feel right." But I didn't. I wanted more. I wanted comfort, I wanted to shine. My name is Jessica. I'm 25 years old. I grew up hearing my mother say the same thing over and over again. Never marry a poor man. Look at your father. Look at how we suffer. If you follow a man with empty pockets, you'll cry every day of your life. I believed her. I watched her yell. I watched her wipe her tears with the same wrapper every night. I saw my father carry shame on his back like a heavy bag. So I promised myself, Jessica, you will never suffer. You will marry money. Even if love is missing, you will marry comfort. I thought I was being smart. I didn't know that life has its own way of teaching people. I didn't know that chasing money without thinking can leave you broken in a way no one can repair. And it all started with a pant. Yes. A pant. A custom-made pant he gave me as a gift. I smiled when I saw it. I felt loved, wanted, spoiled. But I didn't know that same pant was the reason I would wake up bleeding. I didn't know it was the beginning of the pain I live with every single day. He told me he loved me. He took me to Dubai. Bought me things I never dreamed of. But behind the smile was something else. Something I couldn't see. This is my story. A story of love, greed, pain, and a lesson I learned too late. If you are a young girl listening to this, please listen with your heart. Because the truth is, everything that shines is not gold. And some gifts are given to take everything from you. Welcome to Timeless Tales. Subscribe for more content, and remember, we select our subscribers randomly every weekend to receive gifts like Apple Watches, iPhones, and many more. Don't be left out. When I was small, I didn't understand what it meant to be poor. I only knew that my mother was always angry. And my father was always quiet. We didn't have much in our house. We used to boil water to take our bath. We shared one small piece of meat for the whole family. Sometimes, there was no food at all. But even more than hunger, I remember the way my mother looked at my father. Like he was the reason for all our suffering. She would shout. She would throw things. She would cry. And she always said the same thing. Over and over again. If you marry a poor man like your father, suffering will follow you forever. She said it like a curse. Like something she was passing down to me. Sometimes, she would hold my hand tight and say, Jessica, look at me very well. Do I look happy to you? Don't follow love. Follow sense. A poor man's love cannot cook soup. As I grew, those words stayed in my head like a song I couldn't stop singing. I watched how my father would sit alone, drinking Gary with groundnut, while my mother cried inside the room. I watched how people in our compound laughed at us. They called us the family with no future. I hated it. I hated everything about being poor. I told myself, this life is not for me. I will escape. I will never beg. I will never share meat. I will never walk with slippers that have holes. I will marry a man who can give me everything. I will wear fine clothes. I will enter big cars. I will fly on planes. My mother taught me to fear poverty more than anything else in this world. And I did. I feared it more than death. So I made a promise to myself. Jessica, you will never suffer like your mother. You will never cry like her. You will marry money, no matter what it takes. I met David when I was just 19. I had just finished school and was trying to find my way. David was the first man who made me feel seen. He wasn't rich, but he was doing okay. He had a small business, a strong mind, and a good heart. He wasn't like the boys who only talked big. He had plans. Real plans. When I told him I didn't have money for transport, he showed up. When I said I was hungry, food appeared. When I had small dreams, he made them feel big. He called me queen. He treated me like one. And slowly, I started to think, maybe love is enough. Maybe, just maybe, my mother was wrong. Life with David was calm. No flashy cars. No big restaurants. But peace. Laughter. We would sit under the tree in front of his shop eating roasted corn, talking about the future. He said he wanted to build a house. Open a bigger business. Travel. And take me with him. I believed him. I saw the hunger in his eyes. And for a short time, I thought, maybe I can walk this journey with him. But time started to speak. Business slowed down. The shop wasn't making money like before. Rent was due. Customers stopped coming. And the man I used to see strong began to look tired. He would sit with his head in his hands. I would come, and he would try to smile, but the smile was empty. I started to remember my mother's voice. A poor man's love cannot cook soup. I told myself I didn't come into this life to suffer. I didn't want to wait for dreams that may never come true. I wanted more. I wanted now. And so, I started to change. I stopped picking his calls sometimes. I became busy. I stopped coming to the shop. I started dressing up and going out with my friends. David noticed. One evening, he held my hand and said, "Jessica, are you leaving me because I am poor?" I looked away. I didn't answer. Because the truth was in my silence. He begged me. He said he would rise again. He said love was still there. He said I was all he had. But my heart had already left. I didn't want roasted corn anymore. I didn't want to sit under trees. I wanted champagne in hotels. I wanted soft life. So I walked away. Just like that. I left him in the middle of his storm. And I didn't look back. I told myself, you did the right thing. Poverty is not your portion. But I did not know that the road I had chosen, the one filled with shiny things, would one day take more from me than poverty ever could. After David, I promised myself I would never make that mistake again. I said, no more dreams. No more potential. I want the finished product. I want the money now. And from that day, I changed the kind of men I gave my time to. I started going out more. I changed the way I dressed. I started following women who already had what I wanted. They introduced me to men who didn't ask for love first, they showed it with money. I remember the first man I dated after David. He was older, but he had money. Real money. He took me to nice places. Hotels I had only seen on Instagram. He gave me a phone. Bought me clothes. Sent me money without asking. I felt like I had arrived. I started to taste the soft life. From there, it became easy. Another man came. This one had connections. He introduced me to his rich friends. We would fly out on weekends. Eat food I didn't even know the name of. I stopped going to the places I used to. I didn't speak to my old friends anymore. I looked in the mirror and saw someone new. Someone expensive. I told myself, Jessica, this is the life you deserve. I didn't care about love. All I wanted was a man who could take care of me. I didn't want to worry about rent. I didn't want to think about food. I just wanted ease. And for a while, I got it. But each time, after some months, something would happen. One lost his job. One got arrested. One had a business crash. And when the money stopped, I stopped showing up. I would tell them I was busy. Or I would just block them. I had no time for struggle. My heart had turned cold. One man even cried. He said, "Didn't I treat you well?" But I had no answer for him. Because in my mind, his money was the love. And once it finished, there was nothing left. I moved from one man to another. Rich men. Powerful men. Some of them had wives. Some of them were married to their money. But I didn't care. I was living my dream. I could afford bags I never thought I would touch. My skin was glowing. My nails were always done. I stayed in the finest places. I flew in planes like I was born for it. I was in places my mother never even imagined. And every time a man started to fall, I ran. I ran like I was running from sickness. No broke man could tie me down. I had tasted wealth, and I was not ready to give it up. But what I didn't know was that I was walking deeper into a place I could not return from. What I thought was my dream life was only a road. A road leading to something I could never imagine. A road with no sign, no warning. And at the end of that road, was Tony. I thought I had seen everything. I thought I had lived the best life already. Until I met Tony. Tony was not like the other men. He didn't need to talk too much. His money spoke before he opened his mouth. His car alone looked like something from a movie. His clothes were always clean, smooth, and smelling of power. People respected him. Men greeted him with two hands. Even women who used to feel important would lower their eyes when he walked past. And somehow, out of all the beautiful girls around him, he chose me. I still don't know why. Maybe he liked my face. Maybe he liked my silence. Or maybe he just needed someone like me for what he was planning. I didn't know. I didn't ask. Because all I saw was gold. From the first day we met, he never let me lack. Flights to Dubai like it was going to the next street. Dresses I only saw on celebrities. Bags I never even knew how to pronounce. My friends started to envy me. People called me lucky. And truly, I felt lucky. He gave me a car. He gave me an apartment. He put money in my account like water flowing from a tap. He didn't ask questions. He didn't disturb me. All he asked for was my presence. To be by his side. To smile. To look beautiful. I felt like a queen. In fact, I called myself Tony's queen. But there was something about him. Something I could not explain. He smiled, but the smile never reached his eyes. He laughed, but it always felt forced. He had a calmness that made me uneasy. Like someone who always had something on his mind. But I pushed the thoughts away. I told myself, rich men are always like that. They are deep. They have seen too much. One day, Tony came home early. He said he had a surprise for me. I thought it was another trip. Or maybe a piece of jewelry. But he opened a small box. And inside was a pant. Not just any pant. A fine, white, shiny pant. The cloth was soft. Smooth like oil. It had my name written on the inside. Jessica. In gold thread. I held it in my hand and laughed. I had never received such a strange gift before. But because it came from him, I felt special. I felt chosen. He said it was made only for me. He said he wanted me to wear something that no other woman had worn before. I believed him. Because Tony was not the kind of man who lied. Or so I thought. That night, I wore the pant. I stood in the mirror and admired myself. I felt like a goddess. I felt loved. I felt wanted. I even took a picture and sent it to him. He didn't reply, but I didn't mind. Maybe he was busy. That night, I slept with a smile. Not knowing what I had worn was not a gift. It was a key. A door had been opened in the spirit. And I was the one who walked through it without knowing. I didn't know that in the quiet of the night, something had already been taken from me. I didn't know that what I called love was the beginning of the greatest pain of my life. The next morning, I woke up feeling fresh. I stretched my body and smiled. The sun was bright through the window. Birds were singing. Everything felt normal. But when I stood up and looked around the room, something felt strange. The pant was gone. The same pant Tony gave me. The one with my name in gold. I checked everywhere. On the bed. Under the pillow. In the bathroom. Nothing. I stood for a moment, thinking maybe I forgot where I kept it. But I remembered clearly. I had placed it by the edge of the bed before sleeping. Still, I searched again. Still, nothing. I felt a small worry in my chest, but I brushed it off. Maybe it dropped while I was sleeping. Maybe the cleaner came in and moved it. When I saw Tony that day, I told him. I said, the pant you gave me is missing. He looked at me with calm eyes and said, Pant? What pant? Maybe you misplaced it. He was calm. Too calm. He didn't look surprised. He didn't ask questions. He just brushed it off like it was nothing. I laughed a little and let it go. I didn't want to seem like I was making a big deal out of a small thing. But somewhere deep inside me, something felt off. That night, I went to bed feeling tired. My head was heavy. My stomach turned in small circles. I thought maybe I ate too much. I lay down, hoping to feel better in the morning. But sleep did not come easy. I turned from side to side. My legs were cold. My chest was warm. My spirit was restless. In the middle of the night, I felt something wet. I got up and saw blood. It was everywhere. On the bedsheet. On my thighs. I rushed to the bathroom, thinking maybe it was my period. But the blood was too much. It poured like water from a calabash. I held my stomach and sat on the floor. I waited for it to stop. But it did not stop. My body became weak. My voice was dry. My hands were shaking. I cried, not because of the blood, but because I didn't understand. Something inside me was screaming, but I didn't know what it was. I called Tony. He didn't pick. I sent messages. No reply. I was alone. Morning came, and the bleeding continued. I went to the hospital. They ran tests. Took blood. Asked questions. But they found nothing. They said everything was normal. But I was still bleeding. I was getting weaker. I could not stand for long. I could not eat. My mouth tasted bitter. The doctors gave me medicine, but nothing changed. Day 2 passed. Day 3 came. Still the blood did not stop. That was when I knew. This was not sickness from the body. This was sickness from the spirit. And I remembered the pant. The one Tony gave me. The one that disappeared. And I remembered his calm face. His quiet voice. His eyes that did not look surprised. That was when I knew something had been taken from me. Something I could not see with my eyes. But I could feel it in my bones. Something deep. Something sacred. I was no longer just bleeding. I was losing something no hospital could give back. The blood refused to stop. Every morning, I woke up in fear. I could no longer count the pads I used. I stopped going out. I stopped picking calls. My skin lost its color. My body became like broomstick. My voice became faint. The smell started on the 4th day. It came from my womanhood. At first, it was small. I thought maybe it was infection. But each day, the smell grew stronger. I would bathe 3 times a day, but nothing changed. I sat in bed, pressing my legs together, crying. The blood still came. The smell still stayed. The hospital had no answers. They said I was fine. They said the tests were clean. But I knew I was not fine. I knew something inside me was broken. Something they could not see with their eyes. That was when my friend came. She had been trying to reach me. When she finally saw me, she screamed. I was thin. Pale. Smelling like something rotten. She did not speak long. She just held my hand and said, "Follow me." She took me to a place far from the city. A place with dust on the roads. A compound that smelled of herbs and old clay. Inside was a native doctor. An old man with white eyes and quiet breath. He did not ask me many questions. He just looked at me. Then he looked at the blood still trickling down my leg. He shook his head slowly. Then he said something that made my soul freeze. He said, "Your womb is gone." I didn't understand at first. I asked, "What do you mean?" He pointed to my stomach. And then he spoke again. "Your womb has been taken. It was used for sacrifice. The pant you wore was the channel." My breath stopped. I felt cold. I held my stomach and cried. My tears ran like rain. I could not speak for a long time. I just sat on the mat, shaking, crying, begging. I said I didn't know. I said I thought it was love. I said I thought it was a gift. But it was not a gift. It was a trap. A soft trap with gold thread. He told me that the man who gave it to me had used my body to buy more power. That the bleeding was my womb crying out. That no hospital could help me. That what was taken was not just flesh, but my womanhood, my future, my fruit. I begged the native doctor to help me. I said, "Please do something." He looked at me with pity. He said, "I can stop the bleeding. But what is gone, is gone." My heart broke into pieces. I wanted to scream. But my voice failed me. I wanted to run. But my legs were too weak. I wanted to wake up from a bad dream. But this was no dream. I was wide awake. And the pain was real. I had chased money. And now I was empty. I had nothing. No womb. No child. No voice. I sat there, bleeding on the ground, learning the hardest lesson a woman could learn. That not every gift is a blessing. That not every rich man means well. And that sometimes, the thing that looks like love, can destroy you without making a sound. The native doctor took me into a small hut. It was dark inside, with a smell I cannot describe. There were bottles, leaves, and powders on the ground. He mixed herbs together, grinding and rubbing them with his hands. He did not speak much. He just told me to lie down. He placed the herbs on my body. He chanted softly. He placed one leaf on my stomach. He placed another between my thighs. I felt something cold run through me. My eyes closed. I slept for hours. When I woke up, the bleeding had stopped. The pain had reduced. But the smell was still there. A soft rot that did not go away. The native doctor came and sat beside me. He looked at me with eyes full of quiet truth. He said, "You will live. The herbs have closed the door that was opened. But what is gone, cannot return." I asked him again, "What do you mean?" He said, "Your womb is gone, Jessica. You will never have a child." That moment was like death. But the kind of death where you are still breathing. I wanted to scream, but my mouth was heavy. I wanted to run, but my legs were weak. I just sat there on the mat, rocking myself, like a mother rocking a baby she does not have. My tears came slowly, like rain on dry soil. My hands shook. My chest felt hollow. I remembered David. The boy who loved me when I had nothing. The one who shared roasted corn with me and talked about building a family. I remembered his eyes when I left him. I remembered how he begged. I remembered his broken voice. Then I remembered the others. The men I used and left. The ones who were kind. The ones who wanted to build something real. I remembered the way I blocked their numbers. The way I looked at their wallets before their hearts. I remembered the things my mother told me. The way she said, "Suffer no follow love." I believed her. I took those words and built my life around them. And now, I sat in a hut, smelling of herbs, with an empty stomach and a womb that no longer belonged to me. A womb taken by a man who gave me soft life and left me with scars no one could see. I thought I was wise. But I was blind. I thought I was winning. But I was losing slowly. I looked at the wall and whispered, "God, what have I done?" The room was quiet. The trees outside were still. Even the birds were silent. That day, I knew I had destroyed myself with my own hands. No one forced me. I walked into the fire with my eyes open. I chose gold over love. And now I had ashes in my hands. That was the day I buried the part of me that would never rise again. My womb was gone. My future as a mother had ended. And no matter how many gifts I had received, none of them could fill the space that had been taken from me. I sit alone most nights now. I light a small lamp, and I stare at the ceiling. Sometimes, I hear the laughter of children outside. I hear them run. I hear them call Mama. And my chest becomes tight. I hold my pillow like it's a baby. But it is not. It is just cloth. Empty. Cold. Like the place inside me that can no longer carry life. I chased money and lost everything. I did not lose it all at once. I lost it slowly. Step by step. First, I lost David. Then I lost peace. Then I lost my womb. I used to think money was everything. That once you had it, all your problems would disappear. But now I know that some things money cannot buy. It cannot buy back time. It cannot repair a womb. It cannot wash away shame. It cannot silence the voice in your head that whispers, "You were warned." If I could turn back the hands of time, I would choose a different path. I would hold David's hand and walk with him through the storm. I would build with him. I would eat roasted corn and smile. I would sleep under a fan instead of flying to Dubai. I would choose love over luxury. But now it is too late. All I have left is this story. And the lesson inside it. To every girl listening to me now, please hear me well. Do not let hunger for riches blind your eyes. Do not follow a man just because his wallet is full. Some of them are walking graves. You see smiles and soft life, but underneath is darkness you cannot fight. Make your own money. Build your own name. Don't sell your soul for bags, phones, and fake love. Some gifts come with chains you cannot see. Some men are not givers. They are takers in disguise. I wore a pant that looked like love. But it was the key that opened the door to my destruction. Now I live with regret. I carry pain in silence. My womb is gone. And the worst part is, nobody can see the wound. It is not on my skin. It is in my spirit. If I could give you anything, I would not give you clothes or money. I would give you this lesson. So you don't end up like me. My name is Jessica. I am 25. And I can never give life. But maybe, just maybe, this story can give someone else a reason to live better. And if you've listened this far, type in the comments. Money is not worth my womb. Let another girl see it. Let this pain not be wasted. Let my story save somebody. Because even though I cannot carry a child, I can still carry a message. I have told my story with tears in my eyes. I have opened my shame, my pain, and my wound for the world to see. Not because I want pity. Not because I want people to talk. But because I want girls like me to wake up. Before it is too late. When you see those shiny pictures online, think twice. When a man offers you a gift that feels too big, ask yourself what he wants in return. When your spirit feels uneasy, don't silence it. There are still good men out there. Men with small beginnings and big hearts. Men who will stand with you, even when the world turns its back. But many girls today throw them away. Just like I did. Because their pockets were not full. But a full pocket does not always mean a full heart. I once laughed at struggle. Now I sit in silence. I once chased gold. Now I carry emptiness. There is no joy in being called queen when your crown is pain. There is no pride in flying around the world when you cannot carry life within. My womb is gone. My joy as a woman has been stolen. And all I have left is a story. So please, if you are a girl listening to this, don't walk the road I walked. Don't wear what you don't understand. Don't accept love you did not test with time. And don't sell your body for what your hands can build. Learn a skill. Go to school. Start small. It's better to grow slowly than to crash in silence. I didn't know that one pant would change my whole life. I didn't know that my hunger for more would make me lose what mattered most. But now you know. Because I have told you. And if you've watched till the end, please comment below. Money is not worth my womb. So that another girl will see it. So that a sister, a friend, a stranger, will pause before she falls. Share this story. Let it move from one heart to another. Let it sit in the corners of minds that are running toward destruction. Let it save someone. Because I could not save myself. But maybe, just maybe, you can save someone else. If this story touched your heart, then please, subscribe to Timeless Tales. Every week, we bring stories that speak truth. Stories that teach. Stories that carry the wisdom of old and the warnings for today. Subscribe now. And don't forget, every weekend, we surprise some of our subscribers with special gifts. Phones, watches, and more. You don't want to miss it. This is Timeless Tales. Where every story leaves a mark. And every lesson lasts forever.